vlog that's out as
Participation
well.
grows for the most holy month of the year. Of course, I'm speaking of Pride Month, the month when we celebrate one of the 7 deadly sins and all attendant sexual immorality connected with it. Actually, maybe 2 of the deadly sins, actually, depending on which ones we are counting here. But Pride Month is a time when we come together and we spend an entire month honoring LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign I, two-spirit.
Dude, I love that. That joke it always pops. That joke always bangs, dude. It's been good since like 1997. It's always good. One joke Andy's, dude.
Happy face emoji, sad face emoji, tilde people. About 30 times more than we celebrated all the soldiers who died to preserve our freedom. We have Memorial Day, but we do have Pride Month, which is like a month filled with.
Yeah, I love that. Dude, this is like boomer talking point simulator, dude. It's awesome. He's like, we don't celebrate our veterans. Shut the fuck up. When's the last time you celebrated a veteran, dickhead? Shut up. You don't give a fuck about the veterans, dude. He did the LGBTQIA, too hard to understand. What's that about? Minus sign, plus sign. And then now he's saying like, oh, well, we don't celebrate our soldiers. I mean, there's gay soldiers, so I guess they appreciate it. But hey, guess what? You know, you're in the military. Don't ask, don't tell, baby. You ain't gay.
With days. And lest you think, wait, didn't we already have Pride? No, we didn't have Pride Month. We had like Lesbian Visibility Day, and we had like Transgender Awareness Week. We've had like
Ben Shapiro finds out that all of these fucking holidays are just basically bullshit, created to purchase and sell you commodities. It's so funny. He's such a big boy. He learns about this every year, and he's shocked every year. May is Military Appreciation Month. What? No one cares. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Remember, folks, it's not about what's going on. It's oftentimes just like what they're frustrated by, but more what they're always consistently frustrated by, which is gay people existing around them. But what they actually channel their anger and frustration to is what is right in front of their eyes. And Pride Month is like a corporate galore, which is why you see it everywhere, which is why these guys go fucking crazy over it. One example I will give you that is really funny about this is right here. I was actually doing a little bit of Googling on this earlier this morning. What the fuck? Hold on. I'm going to close some of these goddamn tabs. Holy shit. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Juniper covered it. By Yingling, Juniper posted, it's woke too. Then Jennifer Jablanovsky said, Yingling Cave, time to brew another batch of our own. So, like, yeah, Yingling is a Pennsylvania beer brand, okay? And, like, they've always been like, just like every other fucking corporation, they've always been in support of like pride parades and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's very stupid to think that like Yingling is not gay. My not gay beer brand is people asking a lot of questions already answered by the beer. Now Yingling also is like a bit of an interesting one because like the owner is a Trump guy. But again, it's great. It's a great explainer for you. Okay? This shows you how corporations operate. On the one hand, the fucking corporation is owned by a family of Trumpers, but also on the other hand, it's still doing fucking, you know, pro-LGBT marketing. Look at that. That's crazy. But I thought this is woke, DEI, ESG, mind virus bullshit. Like, there's so many acronyms. Like, for a group of people that constantly fucking complain about, like, LGBTQIA, what the fuck? How many letters are we going to add? They keep making up new fucking letters, dude. It's like, oh, CRT, brother, get mad at that, please. Get mad at CRT. Now get mad at fucking DEI. Now I get mad at ESG. I'm like, I can't keep up with this shit. Why do you know so much about whatever kind of fucking liberal bullshit diversity initiative is like popping off? You know what I mean? It's so stupid. Didn't Trump piss on POWs and soldiers that died in a war? Republicans don't care about Memorial Day law. Yeah, exactly. They don't. Anyway, beer companies are the most gay, by the way. Like, weren't Coors funding gay movement in the 90s? Yeah, they were like funding gay research on how to homify your children. Their argument is that pride is fun, but drag isn't because kids. No, first of all, their argument is pride is not fun. So you're wrong on that too. They're literally they're absolutely against pride too, because all of it just means gay shit. All of it signals that like gay people exist in society, and they get fucking very upset about that. Okay. Meanwhile, the real problem is the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of every hour, and conservatives don't even think about that because they're not here right now, unfortunately. Yeah, that's right. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, if you don't want it to be a problem for you, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that's me. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads. That's another way. MB Chaos, thank you for the 5 gifted. You can get gifted a sub if you're lucky, and that's another way you can avoid the ads. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Do these freaks recognize that we literally wouldn't talk about gay shit all month, but we have to because they keep talking about it? Gays don't care as much as y'all do, and they definitely don't care a whole month's worth. Bull Bear, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Why are we acting like only Republicans don't care about veterans? Nobody does. No, yeah. Nobody cares about veterans. Exactly. I agree. People can't even Rick's repair shops having a normal one outside of Tallahassee. Veterans get a day. F words and child molesters get a month. Why? Okay, that's fire. Again, I'm a vet and I don't give a shit about veterans. Yeah, like these motherfuckers don't care about veterans. They only want to use veterans as a talking point against like homeless people, or sorry, not homeless people, against undocumented immigrants or against gay people. You know what I mean? Veterans are, I've talked about this so many fucking times, but like, it's such a joke. It is such a joke the way this country treats veterans. Like, they lie to you. First, they go to low-income neighborhoods and fucking try to get you to sell your soul to the DOD, okay, at an early-ass age. Then they break your body, they break your mind, they break your fucking soul. You go overseas and you shoot at like 14-year-olds, and then you're never the same. Even through basic, you're never the same. And then you come back to this country, okay, and they say, hey, remember all those promises we made about like upward social mobility for you? You know, we'll pay off your education. Yeah, sure. We'll do some of those things, okay? But if you want health care, well, you know, you're going to have to beg for it, okay? And that's usually how it works. Veterans do this thing where, you know, or active duty service members do this thing where they're like, oh, well, I can't pay off any of this shit, so I might as well go and sell my soul to the fucking government for a little bit, do some unimaginably awful things, and then come back and, participate in the same shit-ass job market as the rest of us? Okay, guess what? Now you have a communications degree that the government paid for, and you still can't fucking find a job. Also, if you want to commit suicide, please purchase a gun lock so you'll have 30 extra seconds to really reconsider doing that. That's what you get. Okay? That's literally what you get. As a veteran, that's all you got. But hey, guess what? We care about you. You know, you'll get 30% off in between the time periods of 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. At Denny's. And also, people will say, thank you for your service every now and then. So there you go. That's all you got. Have fun with that PTSD. We'll act like we give a shit about you. That doesn't seem too good, okay? I'm lucky enough that I get to work with veterans that have been through the system, and there are so many things that are wrong with the system no one's willing to fix. One of my clients was receiving benefits from the VA for his service. They miscalculated, and now he's paying that money back since 1998. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. So That's what we got. You know, have fun. Don't kill yourself, please. Or do. Doesn't really matter. Nobody gives a fuck. Okay? That's the attitude of the American government towards veterans. Okay? So, and it's not just veterans that the American government has disdain for. It's the entirety of the working poor. But veterans get the worst part of the shafting because like they break their bodies immediately. The entire pool of veterans is a pool that needs healthcare, like comprehensive healthcare, all the fucking time, and yet, you know, there's just no adequate funding mechanism for that. So it's cool. All right, let's continue. So that's the reason why I think it's funny whenever dumb motherfuckers say, "Oh, what about our veterans? What about our veterans?" Like, shut the fuck up. You don't give a shit about the veterans.
Even a lot of it this year, but Pride Month is, of course, it's basically the high holidays when it comes to secular morality. And so just like Christmas time, when all of the stores decide that they are going to spruce up by putting holly in the windows and Santa receiving children to give them their Christmas wishes, just like that, Pride Month, we will festoon all of our corporate stores. Everything in America will be festooned with rainbows.
Exactly. You just said it. It's like Christmas. It's a bullshit capitalist commodity backed holiday for you to just go out and purchase stuff. And it's not even like that, really. It's not even like a holiday. It's just like corporations just remember that like queer people exist for a month. That's it.
Festooned with the new Pride Progress flags. The rainbows are passé. I mean, we know that already because they didn't include enough BIPOC, transgender little people. So we have to have the world's ugliest flag, the Pride Progress flag, which is the rainbow flag, but it has that weird triangle that comes in from the side, but also has some light pink and light.
They're so mad. I'm sorry. As someone who regularly rips on how ugly the pride flag is, it is the gayest thing you can do, okay? To constantly talk about like the color schemes of the pride flag and how fucking unaesthetic it is literally the gayest thing you could do. You might as well be sucking a cock while you're talking about this, okay? And I say this as someone who talks about it all the fucking time. The only difference is like I have no confusion about my sexuality, and I also have no fears about what my sexuality is or what it might be, unlike many of these other dumbasses, okay? It's just like, yeah, it's lame. Everybody knows that. You fucking make commentary around it for 35 minutes. It's like, just, you know, be normal, please. Holy fuck.
Blue on it and all of the rest. It's all very exciting stuff. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, why is it that there is a universal wave of celebration of Pride Month? After all, isn't this a country where a large segment of the population actually is traditionally religious? In fact, isn't America the most traditionally religious Western country in terms of...
Wait, what? What the fuck? Wait, what is he saying? Dude, the entire structure needs to capitulate to my demands, me and like the small constituency that I represent, okay? Everyone's like me. Me.
Church attendance in terms of people who believe in Judeo-Christian morality with regard to sexual mores. Isn't this a country where...
Yeah, dude, totally. Yeah. Hold on, let me see something. Let's Google it. This is from 2022. Wow. Most favor protecting trans people from discrimination. Okay. Strongly favor. 64% of Americans strongly favor protecting trans people from discrimination. Interesting. Wait, hold up. There's only like one group of Americans that strongly do not favor it and strongly favor the exact opposite. Okay? And those groups, that group of people is white evangelical Protestants. It's not even Jews, which Ben is supposedly a part of. It's literally Ben LARPing as an evangelical Protestant white guy, okay? That's such a strange fucking take. It's so odd. Like, overall, the notion that, like, the broader American base, you know, just like every regular old American wants to fucking melt trans people like Ben Shapiro is ridiculous, is not true. Okay? Now, the irony here is Ben is doing yet another fun Mott and Bailey situation where he also incorporates, perhaps deliberately, Christianity as a whole into the homophobia bracket, which is not true. Plenty of Americans that go to church also do not care about LGBT people in the sense, like, do not want to harm LGBT people and are perfectly open-minded about gay people. There are plenty of gay people and trans people that even go to fucking church. Okay? So the idea that like churchgoers number or like the believers in Christianity number or the believers in Judaism number has anything to do with like homophobia and being anti-queer is a silly one. Okay? Incredibly silly one, as a matter of fact. But like I said, especially ironic that Ben Shapiro, who is Jewish, is saying this, considering that like the Jewish population and their perspective on the LGBT population is incredibly supportive. Here is one other group that is actually a lot more supportive than the white evangelical Protestants, which are in a league of their own. Muslims in the United States of America. That's right. Muslims in the United States of America are more open-minded and more tolerant to LGBT people existing in society than white evangelical Protestants are. This is yet another case of Ben Shabibo trying to claim that there are more people that feel like he does than there are not, when the data does not show that. Okay? There are even churches that are starting to actively, vocally support the LGBTQ community. I hate being lumped in with those biblical cultists. Yeah. Bro, the fucking, the Catholic Church is woke now. Okay? Stop holding on to this weird notion. As somebody with a background in evangelicalism, why evangelical Protestants literally look at churches that are accepting of LGBTQ as being literal plots by Satan to fool people into thinking they're with Jesus when they're not. Yeah. That's why I also laugh at the adult convert movement. You know what I mean? Where it's like, year over year, there has never been an increase in like the number of churchgoers. If anything, there's always a decrease. There's a steady decrease of people who openly state that they believe in a major religion. That's part of the reason why Ben freaks the fuck out. The idea that like it's the exact opposite. One, looping in the entirety of the religious population in this country with like homophobia and associating that is really fucking stupid. And two, the notion that like America is like a very religious nation is also stupid. America's religion is capitalism. America's Bible is the Constitution. That's it. That's the real short and sweet of it. If you're going to be really reductive about it, okay? The United States of America believes in one religion. And that religion is American capitalism, baby. Straight up. So, let's look at church attendance. Attendance by country. The frequency at which Christians attended church services varies greatly around the world. Indonesia is the highest percentage. I would assume that America has like a relatively higher percentage than other OECD nations. Here's the United States church attendance at 41%. Poland at 41%. Get wrecked, Poland. Okay. Venezuela at 41%. Japan at 50%. Jesus Christ. Big L for Japan. Anyway, pre-COVID numbers. I mean, none of that even matters. Ultimately, church attendance cannot be directly tied to LGBT hate, especially in a place like the United States of America. Okay? That's it. Japan is woke now. Exactly. Japan's percentage is only so high because there aren't a lot of Christians in Japan. It's mostly Buddhist and Shinto. Yes, church implies Christians. Christian demographics in these countries and their attendance is what they're looking at. Okay? So Ben, once again, is not in the business of actually informing his audience. He's in the business of cutting propaganda. And in that business, his business is good, especially during Pride Month, he is going to try and lie to you. And that's precisely what he's doing. So we went through a bunch of the talking points, piece by piece. So let's continue.
Where there still is a pretty significant split over the question of the morality of, say, whether a boy is a girl or a girl is a boy. Well, yes, there is, but not in the halls of corporate America. And then you might wonder, well, hold up a second. Isn't corporate America answerable to the people? I mean, after all, doesn't corporate America have to cater to the market? We've been told that capitalism turns everything into a matter of making money. And when you ignore half the audience in the United States, you're probably shrinking your audience size. If you just stayed neutral, wouldn't you be better off? Let's say you just didn't celebrate Pride Month.
Once again, this is a market condition. If you love the free market, you can try and boycott it. But, you know, going beyond that is going to be silly. And if you think that half of the United States of America is anti-gay or cares about gay people that much, you are delusional. You are wrong. That is not correct. The notion that even half of the country is actually actively Republican is a silly one, but they love saying that because we live in a two-party system. That is not the case. If anything, the plurality doesn't vote, usually, which means there are more people who are voter eligible that don't vote than vote for either party. Okay? It's just the fucking freaks that care about this shit. As a matter of fact, that is precisely the reason why corporations, knowing all of this, is actively making these market decisions. Pride Month is pandering to the LGBT community for the entire month of June. They look at the broader American public. They look at who has disposable income, and they make these decisions before Ben Shapiro and the others get upset about it and start fancying themselves as like corporate marketers, okay? You can cry about it as much as you want, but ultimately, it's not the case. We have looked at studies over and over again on this fucking broadcast. People do not care about LGBT values one way or the other. Republicans don't even care about companies pandering to the LGBT community during the month of Pride. The people that do care, unfortunately, are the fucking loudest people, though. That is the issue. Chatters, I would appreciate it if you didn't give the attention to the person that is like very clearly 14 years old, because they're super desperate for it. Sometimes we're not going to get to it, and we're not going to be able to ban them immediately. But like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to like immediately respond to them. Okay? Let's continue.
You didn't celebrate Christian morals and mores, but you also didn't celebrate Pride Month. All you do is you sell shoes. You're a shoe store and you sell shoes. You have like a giant rainbow display talking about RuPaul's gallivanting around in high heels. And at the same time, you don't have like pictures of nuns wearing shoes. It's just a shoe store. And you might think to yourself, wait, wouldn't that be the safest approach for corporate America?
I love, again, it's not nuns versus gay people. Okay, one is like a profession or a religious belief which exists in society, certainly. The other is just a group of individuals that also exist in society that have no choice. Like, they're just who they are. Okay, if people were as Christian as Ben Shapiro claims they are. By the way, you're Jewish. Don't know why you keep fucking talking about Christianity. Don't know why you keep talking about fucking nuns. Like, I don't know what that's going to do for you. Okay. Oh, that's right. It's because you are cucked. You're a Christ cuck. That's the only reason why you're talking about it, because your entire audience is full of Christ cucks. That's precisely the reason why you're talking about this. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. If America was as Christ cucked as you claim it is, right? Then corporations would have nuns in display. They would have priests on their displays, because that would mean that is what sells shoes. Okay? But that is not the case. And that's why they're doing the gay outreach for a month.
The answer today is no. The answer today is no. Because here's the thing. We on the right, we've been engaging in a tactic where we pick and we choose a few corporations and we bat them about the ears, and that's good. We should be doing that. But is that going to solve the overall problem of corporate America universally to a corporation backing the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign I two-spirit agenda? Is that going to solve the problem? Now, it may intimidate some people into something reflecting neutrality, but the problem is that we may be on the point of neutrality at this point. The reason I say this is because there's a Harvard Business School study just a couple of years back. It's like 2014 by James Bailey and Hillary Phillips in Harvard Business Review. And here's what the study looked at. What the study looked at is the views of people on the left and people on the right with regard to how they regard corporations. Do they like corporations? Do they not like corporations? And so what they looked at was a fake corporation. They made up a corporation called Jones Corp. And they basically said that they created a few iterations of it. One was that Jones Corp was a conservative corporation. Iteration number two is that it was a neutral corporation. And iteration number three is that it was a left-wing corporation. For people who are on the left, if they perceive the corporation as either neutral or left-wing, they're basically indifferent about it. But as soon, literally the moment, that it identified in any way as a conservative corporation, there was a 33% drop in opinion among people of the left. That was not mirrored among people of the right. People of the right.
So doesn't that literally fucking go against your perspective? Isn't that precisely the reason why corporations do not care? Also, what the fuck is a left-wing corporation? That is antithetical to left-wing values. I think what he means is like a corporation that's liberal, okay? A corporation that identifies as a libbed-up corporation, which I don't know what the fuck that would be. But regardless, that study is precisely, and many other studies have come out since then, is precisely the reason why companies do not fear making these kinds of, pandering movements once a year. That's it. You're just upset at the indifference that conservatives feel towards companies and the decisions they make towards marketing, and you want to whip your audience up in a frenzy so they behave in the manner that like SJWs behave supposedly. Okay?
Basically saw the corporation the same across the board. It's a place that sells me things. But people of the left saw these corporations as innately,
like you're using this as a value. You're on the one hand saying, look, conservatives are above that kind of thing, and it's great. And then you turn around and you fucking say conservatives shouldn't be above that kind of thing. So which is it?
Of the left, which means the neutral space has disappeared. And the right has responded by pointing out, okay, well, if you're saying the neutral space has disappeared and you are clubbing everybody from neutrality into the left, well, then in order to restore neutrality, maybe we have to pull them back to the right. But maybe neutrality just doesn't exist anymore. Maybe these corporations aren't going to have a safe space where they can just, provide you product without having to engage in this game. And unfortunately, that has become the case because there is a group of people, a group of very elite people who get together on a fairly regular basis in the halls of power, and they decide for all of us exactly what social politics are.
I mean, this is so funny because, like, Mr. Pro-Capitalism is upset that, like, the only color capitalists care about is green. You know what I mean? And I've heard him say this a million times over. Capitalism can't be racist because capitalism only cares about green. It cares about consumers. And like when those corporations are even like pandering, when they're even pandering to gay people for like 30 fucking days of the goddamn year, okay, as they still fund Republican right-wing politicians and whatnot for deregulation purposes. Fitzy McFitzface, thank you for the 50 big ones, by the way. Big Oiler in the chat, Fitzy McFitzface. When they do that, when they pander for like 30 days, Ben loses his fucking mind. It's so stupid.
Are going to be promulgated every time you go to Target, every time you go to Kohl's, every time you go to Disneyland. There's a broad-based agreement by investment capital firms that they are going to promote left-wing agenda items, and they're going to do it with the backing of government, but also in collusive fashion. They're going to get together, and they're all going to universally push ESG, right? Environmental social governance. The S in ESG is what we're talking about here, social governance, meaning they wish to push forward a left-wing social agenda, and you will be told exactly what you are supposed to believe. And if you do not like it, they're counting on your apathy.
It's so stupid. Yeah. No, that's not the case. Okay? This is what's so fucking idiotic about this. Like, corporations do not care about changing people's minds unless that change is happening at the point of purchase. That's what corporations care about. Corporations do not care whether you're homophobic or as gay as Rick Perry. Okay? They just care that you go to Target and buy shit at Target. That's it. The notion that a corporation like Target saying, hey, gay people, come shop here. We love you. We care about you for 1 month out of the year is not as dangerous as Ben presents it, no matter how hysterical he gets. Target is not interested in making everyone gay, okay? Target is not capable of making everyone gay. It doesn't work that way. None of this is how things work. But if you listen to Ben Shapiro and you listen to Steven Crowder every single fucking day, you then develop this idiotic understanding of the world. But they can't do that. The real indoctrination occurs at the point of education and inside of churches and inside of family households, okay? Conservatives have only one way to continue that indoctrination because ultimately, people don't care about whether someone is gay or trans or whatever the fuck. At most, they'll feel apathy, okay? They don't care. This is all socially learned behavior that they're learning from those 3 points that we're mentioning. It's not Target. Nobody fucking goes to Target and goes, oh, I'm gay now. Maybe they can be a little bit more open-minded if society is more open-minded, which I do think it's a good thing. I don't have an issue with that at all. But Ben tries to make it seem as though they are brainwashing your children to be gay. No, your kid is gay, okay? Not every child is, but your child might be, and that's it. So when the only thing you're trying to mask in that regard, when you yell about corporations, private businesses, saying that they're open-minded to gay people, is that you want to stop that. You just don't want an environment that is non-hostile to that form of existence. That's it. That's the problem. The problem you have is not that corporations are turning your kids gay. The problem is that corporations or, other facets of society that you existed are saying, no, we're fine. Like, gay people exist. It's all right. It's good. And you want to stop that so that, there are more Benny Johnsons in the world. Gay men who hide their sexuality and repress it. And, they still have those sexual desires that they will express, that they will follow through on, just, while they have a wife.
To make sure that there is no actual backlash. And if there is backlash, maybe it'll be sporadic. Maybe it'll die out. Because there's one thing they know above all, and that is that the entire ESG superstructure, the funding superstructure for this, is way larger than any individual boycott that conservatives can put together against Bud Light or put together against Target. So how exactly does this really corrupt system work? We'll get to that in just 1 second. First, if you don't trust the federal...
Yeah, he's got to do his ad read real quick. Hold up.
...has become the way...
Just...
Those three companies accounts, pension funds, mutual funds, and investment account and
Wait,
State Street. 98 to get started. Okay, so there is a
He's selling precious metals, dog. Of course he is.
Superstructure that has basically decided how exactly all of these businesses are going to operate. That superstructure is dictated by the biggest investment firms on planet Earth. Those investment firms are essentially BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. According to Anson Frericks, who's a co-founder of Strive Asset Management and a former Anheuser-Busch executive writing for the UK Daily Mail, he says that these three companies control more than $20 trillion in assets, almost none of which is their own. Instead, they manage the money held in everyday Americans' retirement accounts, pension funds, mutual funds, and investment accounts. Together, those big three constitute the largest shareholders of nearly 90% of all the largest companies listed on the U.S. stock exchange, the S&P 500. So you have three companies that control $20 trillion in asset, and they're the largest stockholders in 90% of all the largest companies listed on the U.S. stock exchange. Those three companies are largely controlling pension funds. And it turns out they have an agenda. They collusively have formed an agenda together, and they've made clear this agenda. So let us flash back to just last year. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink talked about the necessity for the business elite with their left-wing social politics to dictate to literally every consumer of the West exactly how they should feel about controversial social issues.
It's just, you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just not recruiting, it is development, as Ken said.
Okay, so it's development, it's recruiting, and it is investment itself. Investing in ESG positive companies has become the way that all of these major corporations, these major investment firms, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, that is how they control the narrative in the United States of America. Again,
Okay. I love that Ben Shapiro, who's supposedly a libertarian, okay, losing his fucking mind at the very, according to him, grim reality that corporations recognize diversity initiatives sell. He's like, I love capitalism, unless that capitalism means we're selling product to gay people. I don't like that kind of capitalism. We need to hone that kind of capitalism in. We need to stop that capitalism immediately. That's when I become a woke anti-capitalist. Like, that's it, man. It's it. Gay people have disposable income, you fucking dingus. That's the whole point. That's why they're doing this, okay? It's ridiculous. Like, oh, I love capitalism, but I want to make sure that it's homophobic capitalism. Never thought I'd hear the argument that BlackRock is woke now. No, there's actually a hidden truth there. People do not like corporate consolidation. Okay, Republicans don't like it either. So BlackRock is a good villain that a lot of people recognize is a villain in the space, right? BlackRock is basically the corporate entity that perhaps most signifies capitalism in its worst aspects. Okay? So they point to BlackRock and they say, we're mad at BlackRock too. But why are we mad at BlackRock? Because they're making everybody gay. It's an acceptable way to be anti-capitalist for right-wingers, okay? Because everyone has that populist, that economic populism in them, okay? Everybody's got that dog in them. That's why that shit is so fucking popular, which is precisely the reason why they have to find a new way to have that anti-capitalist dog bark. It's not BlackRock's corporate consolidation that's bad. It's that corporate consolidation is actually turned into homifying the children. Graham Waters, thank you for the 5 hit the subs. Okay? Also, BlackRock is not a woke company by any means. That's it. Like, if you think that, like, BlackRock is woke, you probably are of the mindset that, like, Jeff Bezos is woke and a leftist or something. And you are so fucking stupid that I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how I can have a conversation with you because you are living in a different universe.
As Frericks writes, the turning point was 2019. That year, the Business Roundtable, a group of CEOs from America's largest companies, adopted a new statement on the purpose of a corporation, declaring that all companies share a fundamental commitment to all of our stakeholders to promote the larger social good. 188 American CEOs signed on. Among them where the CEOs of the big three and other large financial institutions like JP Morgan and Bank of America, and many of the companies they own. That includes Target, Disney, and Coca-Cola. The big three began to issue guidelines on how they expected their portfolio companies to honor this commitment by implementing those ESG targets or scores. And so they immediately started leveraging in left-wing social engineering into all of these companies. The big three wield enormous influence over pretty much everything that happens inside of these companies. And you know who knows that is Joe Biden. So according to Beth Brooke Marciano.
Yeah, we should break it up. No, we should enforce some regulatory mechanisms. I agree. I guess Ben and I are both anti-capitalist. I mean, I'm fine with that. I love that, actually. I'm elated at the prospect. You know, what are we going to do about it, Ben? Let's hold hands and get together and, finally eviscerate the scourge of BlackRock. Finally eviscerate the scourge of global finance capital. Let's do it. I love that. I fucking love that. What's the plan here? And that's the point. There is nothing. They just don't want BlackRock to do gay shit. That's it. Or not even BlackRock. I can't believe I'm taking his argument seriously. They just don't want to see the rainbow flag for the month of June. That's the only problem they have. Meanwhile, your audience is suffering from the material harm that corporate consolidation is cultivated and created. A material harm that you defend regularly. Inflation is a very real and deliberate byproduct of the structure that you are currently criticizing. But you don't give a fuck about the inflation aspect. You only care about the gay t-shirts. That is so unserious, okay? So if you are the type of person that has maybe found themselves in this audience because you're like, I fucking hate this Hasan guy, I'm here to tell you, okay? It's the inflation that hurts you. It's not like the existence of gay people, and it's not companies pandering to gay people for 30 days out of the year, okay? Ben does not want to control inflation. Ben does not want to control companies because that would be considered communism. Okay? He doesn't want that. He just wants to yell like Ron DeSantis did about Disney and keep yelling over and over and over again about these companies just, putting forward statements that they care about gay people. Okay?
Sianik, who's the board director and former global vice chair of public policy at Business for Social Responsibility.
But it's cool though, because I see this as a pendulum swing, okay? I just need you guys to understand. Maybe I'm too hopeful, maybe I'm dumb, maybe I'm naive. But I do think that this level of hysterical screeching is going to make people annoyed for the most part. Because the more confident these thought leaders get, the more they will push for others to go out and boycott products. Okay? And the more they do that, the more other moderate Republicans or just regular people are going to be fucking annoyed with them constantly screeching, constantly telling you you're bad or immoral or wrong for consuming something that you want to consume. Because ultimately, this American project revolves around one thing and one thing only: treats that you can easily consume. Easily accessible, relatively affordable treats. When you fucking shut off the treat faucet, all of a sudden, people start recognizing, wait a minute, my financial situation is fucking dire. I hate my boss. I hate my life. I feel isolated. I feel alienated. I have no sense of fucking community. And now you're telling me that I can't go to Applebee's because they said they love gay people? Well, fuck you. I'm going to go to Applebee's and I'm going to eat that gay jalapeno popper like it's a cock, okay? I'm going to suckle on that shit. You can't tell me what to do, okay? People are about to treat them the same way Hoggies treated SJWs. Exactly. Exactly. If corporations just like, stand strong for like 3.5 fucking seconds, they will literally recognize that they're not going to take a massive hit and that these guys will just come across as like screeching fucking losers. And inevitably the problem will go away while also harming their brands and their reputations, these guys' brands and reputations. Because look, the greatest example I can use is one that Ben literally agrees with. Hogwarts Legacy. We always go back to that over and over again, okay? People want to play the game. People want to feel like they're in Hogwarts. We want to feel like they're kids again. Okay, so when you tell people like, oh no, don't consume this thing, don't consume this product, okay, then people are going to say, no, I want to consume this product. Disney is a great example of this as well. You tell people like, oh no, you should feel bad about going to Disney. They're going to be like, fuck you. I'm going to take my kids to fucking Disney. I don't give a shit how gay it is, okay? I like Disney a lot more than I like you, Ben Shapiro, is going to be the answer.
Which is, again, an interest group that is involved in this sort of nonsense. Joe Biden approached Beth Brooke Marcianick and actually told her that companies should force change, that there was stuff he could not do at a governmental level because it would be a violation of free speech, but he wants government not to force the change. Government will work hand in glove with major corporations to force the kind of change that Joe Biden would like to see.
So the PGLE, Partnership for Global LGBTI Equality, this is a group that was formed in collaboration with the World Economic Forum after 5 or 6 years of working behind the scenes with senior leaders at just a handful of companies. This organization was founded in January of 2019, but there's strength in numbers. So with the platform of the World Economic Forum, the power of the UN, and then finally, the strength in the companies working together, where when you combine the economies, the corporate economies of those 14 countries, we're bigger than a lot of countries. So tremendous power. In Davos a couple of years ago, Vice President Biden met privately with those of us working behind the scenes, and he sat down with us and looked us in the eye, and he said, you companies can do what we government cannot and will never do.
You can do what government cannot do. Namely, you can force compliance. You can essentially make it impossible to find a corporation that is not mirroring the left-wing social agenda when it comes to things like Pride Month. The organization that Beth Brooke Marcianick is referring to there, the PGLE, is the Partnership for Global LGBTIQ+ Equality. So what exactly do they do? Well, they're a consortium of 270+ major businesses, including Accenture, Airbnb, Google, Pfizer, Paramount, PepsiCo, PayPal, Hyatt, Procter & Gamble. It's hard to find a major...
Wow, the government is working hand in hand with corporations? That's crazy. Wow, I hate that. We should do something about that. We should punish these corporations and punish the government too, actually. Are we calling these people CJWs, not Christian Justice Warriors? I love the fake anti-corporate stance that these fucking goons present, because corporations have decided to color their fucking storefronts with the rainbow colors for like 30 days. It's great. And you're going to hear a lot more of this, by the way. I'm on board, man. Let's do it. I'm on board.
Corporation in America that is not on that list. And what exactly do they do? Well, they agree to abide by the standards of conduct. What are the standards of conduct for all of these major corporations that are quote-unquote partners with the PGLE? Well, they have a few different standards. They're produced in collaboration with the Institute for Human Rights and Business, based on UN guiding principles on business and human rights. You got the UN dictating these particular standards. And those standards include the idea that businesses are encouraged to contribute to stopping human rights abuses in the countries in which they operate. So how do they define human rights abuses? Anything opposing the LGBTQI+ agenda. In doing so, they should consult with local communities to identify steps they might take, including public advocacy, collective action, social dialogue, support for LGBTIQ+ organizations, and challenging abusive government actions. So all these corporations have agreed to become tools of the left-wing social agenda. Again, why are they doing that? It doesn't run with their bottom line. It certainly doesn't favor the interests of their shareholders, all of whom theoretically should want to reach out to customers of all political persuasions and all religious persuasions. Now, the reason that they're doing this is because all of the major investment firms that own a giant chunk of their stock are left-wing institutions: State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard. That is the entire plan right here. And they've also leveraged this into organizations that basically govern companies that aren't even involved in this. So let's say that you're a company that is just on the NASDAQ. And just as a NASDAQ-listed company, you don't feel the necessity to sign on with the PGLE. You're not even a consumer-facing brand. Let's say that you're an R&D brand. Now, you're just in some industry where you're doing R&D in tech or biotech or something. Why should you sign on to any of this stuff? It's not like you have a store and people are walking in and need to see the Pride Progress flag or something. So why do you sign on to that? Well, the answer is, number one, again, all of these major corporations that are big stockholders in public corporations, they have decided that they are going to essentially threaten to withdraw their money and undercut your stock price if you refuse to do what they say. Not only that, but they've also institutionally captured places like the NASDAQ itself. So the NASDAQ itself approved a rule on August 6th, 2021 to encourage greater board diversity and to require board diversity disclosures for NASDAQ-listed companies. What does that mean? It means that companies must disclose in a standardized matrix set forth in the rule the total number of company board members and how those board members self-identify regarding gender, predefined race, and ethnicity categories, plus LGBT.
Folks, the stock exchange has gone gay. With this logic, if under the Trump presidency, if the corporations continue doing what they're doing, Trump is an LGBTQ ally. Yeah. For the record, every single fucking thing that these corporations are doing with like diversity initiatives and whatnot is so they can, again, boost their stock prices. There's empirical evidence that shows that corporate structures with C-suite executives having a more diverse board of executives actually creates a better environment, okay? And then also on top of that, these companies are actually more profitable. The more diverse the board, the more profitable they are, okay? So the idea that this is like, done again for some other like secret reason, some other nefarious reason is stupid, okay? That's it.
LGBTQ plus status. You are mandated to have a certain number of LGBTQI plus minus divided by sign people on your board if you're on the NASDAQ. And if you don't, then you have to explain publicly why you don't have enough lesbian little people on your board. That is the idea here. And the NASDAQ, they say that we are not going to necessarily delist you, but they have to publicly disclose the reasons they did not satisfy the objective. Presumably, at some point, if NASDAQ does not like your explanation, then they got a problem. NASDAQ will verify that companies have provided an explanation in the event of noncompliance. They won't evaluate the disclosure from a substantive perspective, but that's the next step. The next step will be the NASDAQ deciding that you don't have a sufficient justification for not having enough intersex little people on your board. And so maybe you have to be delisted. They've captured the commanding heights of finance. And not only have they captured the commanding heights of finance, they've combined with government in order to do so. Because remember, there was an attempt at the state level in places like Florida to essentially ban the use of ESG in investment decisions. The Republicans in Congress tried to do this. The Republicans in Congress passed a bill essentially saying that from now on, corporations are answerable to their shareholders. They should not be using external factors like ESG to define their mission. And Joe Biden stepped in and said, nope, we're not going to do that. Joe Biden stepped in and he said, no, we are not going to allow that. ESG must be a defining factor of how investments get done. Of course he wants that to happen. He literally said he wants that to happen. So you now have the merger of government and corporate interest in pushing a left-wing social agenda. And of course, if you're a big firm like Vanguard or State Street, you know where your bread is buttered. It's buttered by the federal government. The federal government, the SEC, governs you. Republicans don't use the SEC generally to threaten corporations one way or another, but the left certainly does. The left is perfectly happy to use the SEC to threaten mergers and acquisitions they don't particularly like. So if you are State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock, sure, your leadership might be into ESG, but it very well might be the case that you just don't like regulatory agencies breathing down your neck. And so the bottom line here is that you now have a...
Dude, I love the idea that the feckless Democrats are actually utilizing the SEC to, like, homosexualize the fucking corporate structure, the corporate boards. This is, again... I need to repeat something, okay? Just take a breather and forget who you're listening to for a second. Forget like the academic terminology that Ben Shapiro is regularly fucking adding into the conversation, and understand that what he is saying is completely fucking insane. Okay? What he's describing right now is no different than what a carnival barker would say. It is no different than what someone who's on a soapbox at the fucking subway station would be screaming. The Democratic Party is for some weird agenda, okay? The Democratic Party is operated by who knows what, but they want to make sure that everyone is gay. How are they going to make sure that everyone's gay? They're going to go to the stock market and utilize the SEC to ensure that these corporate boards are full of gay people. And then those gay people are going to make gay decisions, and those gay decisions are going to make your child gay. Remember how, just for a moment, like Ben Shapiro aesthetically is pleasing to liberals, okay? He presents himself as an intellectual. He presents himself as like a smart guy, okay? So it's oftentimes he's very good at presenting his points as though they are valid. Even if you're like a normie or a moderate, you can listen to him and go, this guy seems like a smart guy. He speaks very fast. Okay. So that's the reason why you have to, like, again, remove yourself from the conversation for a brief moment, take a deep breath, and just like take a snapshot of like the entire argument itself. It's basically the same Pepe Sylvia bullshit. Some of the funnier parts about it is that, like, BlackRock is supposedly left-wing. You know what I mean? Like, these mega corporations are actually left-wing. There's nothing left-wing about venture capital. There's nothing left-wing about hedge funds, okay? The idea that BlackRock is a left-wing institution is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Almost as dumb as the idea that the Democratic Party would somehow try to use any government agency to force these corporations into doing anything as stupid as like trying to ensure that there are more gay people in their boards, okay? That would then also somehow turn around and make gay decisions that will make your children gay, okay? If you follow the fucking script that they're pushing forward, if you follow the script that they're trying to present here, you realize it's completely and utterly insane. Okay? Don't get swept up in the aesthetics. Because, as we all know, the Democratic Party is feckless. They cannot even take down Kevin fucking McCarthy. Okay? They cannot even deal with Kevin McCarthy. They are just two sides of the same corporate structure focused coin. And they're just, they're doing the same shit that the Republican Party is doing. That's it. Okay? For the most part. The idea that they would, like, push the corporations to do anything is silly, is ludicrous.
A daisy chain of left-wing social engineering, beginning with government, bleeding over into the corporate sphere, beginning at the top of investment finance, and then moving into nearly every corporation in America. And again, all these corporations, they can get away with it just so long as conservatives basically remain complacent about all of this.
Yeah. And the way to take this corporate structure down, this entire system that's like designed to be gay, to queerify your children, by yelling about Target. Good job. Good luck, man. That seems great. It seems like you've really presented a solid solution here. Okay? That's a call to action. A call to action to do what? Not like organize your workplace, not one that understands how commodities are produced and where value is and where the actual power is if you're a regular working class citizen, but instead to just yell about Target. That's great. Surely this will work.
It's also why corporations are able to force their own employees into silence. We'll get to that in just one moment. First, I got to tell you.
Another fucking ad break. Jesus Christ, dude.
Like
y'all complain about the top of the hour ad break, which comes once at the top of every hour, okay? Which you can literally avoid for $5 or for free. Meanwhile, Ben is just doing ad breaks through his fucking commentary, like 3 minutes 3 minutes of his commentary every time is fucking ad breaks, dude. It's crazy. Anyway, like I said, the top of the hour is upon us, and if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or by getting gifted a sub, actually, if you're lucky. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Girls are boys, and every form of sexual orientation is morally equivalent. In unison, without anyone, like lockstep. Goose stepping forward, all in unison. I mean, it's an amazing,
yeah. They're doing Nazi homo. They're doing homo Nazi stuff.
Amazing thing. It is corporate fascistic ideology at work. Now, the left is always worried that corporations were going to turn everybody into the company man, but now they've captured the power of corporations, which is why you see them all rooting for Disney against Ron DeSantis these days, for example. It's why you suddenly see the Democratic Party talking about how big business is their friend. This would be the reason. And you can see the effects on individuals. Like, it takes actual courage in order for people to stand up, and they're very likely to get clubbed if they do. So, to take an example, the LA Dodgers recently got themselves into hot water because, again, they're a major corporation, the LA Dodgers. And the only way to explain what they are doing, the LA Dodgers, is to understand that they do not feel bound by their own customer base. The LA Dodger customer base is heavily Hispanic and heavily Catholic. I know, I used to live in LA. And yet they decided to slap Catholics in the face by hosting an LGBTQI plus minus divided by sign Pride Night featuring the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, an anti-Catholic hate group that is designed in order to mock Catholics with perverse displays. And then they backed off of it. And then when they were clubbed from the other side, when they were clubbed by the left, they decided to go back and do it again. Well, now you have certain members of the team who have decided to speak out. And this takes actual courage, as we'll see in a moment. So one of those people is a pitcher named Trevor Williams. He is a right-handed pitcher for the Washington Nationals. And he wrote, quote, "As a devout Catholic, I'm deeply troubled by the Dodgers' decision to reinvite and honor the group."
This is great. I was literally going to talk about this anyway. I'm glad that Ben is covering it. Oh, courage. Courage is when you're like, oh, man, full cop Bud Light, brother. Fucking hell yeah, dude. How courageous, how bold.
The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at their Pride Night this year. A Major League Baseball game is a place where people from all walks of life should feel welcomed, something I greatly respect and support. This is the purpose of different theme nights hosted by the organization, including Pride Night, to invite and honor a group that makes a blatant...
Yeah, this is some snowflake shit, man. Bennett's point is literally our political adversaries are successfully using our own strat against us. Hold this L, loser. Yeah. Dude, if you're so fucking courageous, you wouldn't shit your diapers at the first sign of like a queer nun, okay? No, Mom, please do not. Oh no, don't do this. No, don't come over here and you're getting her riled up. Wait, what? Yeah, I brought her in. Okay. As I was saying, yeah, okay. Well, there you go. Mom has done it again. Don't worry about it. Bakma bile oraya buraya. Anyway. Funniest part is my mom will always be like, it's so hard to raise a child with grandparents in the house. So hard to raise you guys when your grandparents visited. And it's like, she's not doing it on purpose. She's not. So it's fine. But, you know, you become the grandparent at a certain point, I guess. Anyway. New anti-gay hawk conspiracy just dropped. Okay. Before we get to that, where the fuck were we? We talked about church attendance, all this shit. We debunked all that. So I was outside when Ben was covering this part, but this is the second part of the story. There is some pitcher guy who came out and released this statement.
A right-handed pitcher for the Washington Nationals. And he wrote, quote, "As a devout Catholic, I'm deeply troubled by the Dodgers' decision to reinvite and honor the group the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at their Pride Night this year. A Major League Baseball game is a place where people from all walks of life should feel welcomed, something I greatly respect and support. This is the purpose."
Except they're making a mockery of my religion. It's like Ben literally said two things here that I find really funny. One, he said that the Los Angeles Dodgers have a devoutly Catholic fan base. Okay? Which is a hilarious take. Is Los Angeles inside of the boundaries of godless California, where every single person is fornicating and they're absolutely and unimaginably away from God? Or is it a nation state in and of itself with supremely devout Catholic Latino Dodgers fans? It's closer to the first argument is closer to the reality here in Los Angeles, okay? Obviously, for idiots like Ben Shapiro, who are trying to cut propaganda, they switch between the two. In LA, especially though, even the fucking churches are gay, dog. Once again, remember, it's Los Angeles. Now, the second part of this that I find really funny is that this guy is being celebrated as this like brave and bold, courageous guy. This is a courageous act. There is nothing courageous about shitting your diapers when you see like a troupe, like a musical troupe, okay? When you see a group of people that are doing like theater, okay? That's not exactly courageous to me. But I guess for a entire group of, losers and weirdos that have nothing else going on in their lives, this is how you are heroic. You're heroic. Why? Because you're posting. You're heroic. Why? Because you're chirping on Twitter. You're heroic. Why? Because you sent an email. It's so fucking heroic, man. That's awesome. I'm so heroic when I see nuns dancing around and I lose my shit and I piss my fucking pants. That's what heroism is, you know? That's what they were doing on D-Day. Our brave and beautiful veterans in World War II. What were they doing? They were storming the beaches of Normandy? No, they were sending concerned emails and concerned letters, crying. It's awesome.
Purpose of different theme nights hosted by the organization, including Pride Night, to invite and honor a group that makes a blatant and deeply offensive mockery of my religion and the religion of over 4 million people in LA County alone, undermines the values of respect and inclusivity that should be upheld by any organization. Creating an environment in which one group feels celebrated and honored at the expense of another is counterproductive and wrong. It is a clear violation of the Dodgers' discrimination policy, which explicitly states that any conduct or attire at the ballpark that is deemed to be indecent or prejudiced against any particular group or religion is not tolerated. It seems that the Dodgers have made an exception in this case, doubling down that this group, which grossly disrespects and openly mocks many of the traditions and beliefs Catholics hold most dear, should be celebrated. I believe it's essential for the Dodgers to reconsider their association with this group and strive to create an inclusive environment that does not, to me...
There's nothing more annoying than being the fucking traveling pitcher that, like, tells the city what they can and can't do. If anything, I'm certain that the majority of people that, like, originally were like, I don't really fucking know what's going on here, I don't really care about it, probably were like, fuck you. No, actually, this is fire. Suck my dick for writing this dumbass fucking essay. You fucking bitch. Okay? Like, imagine losing your shit at this, dude. Look at this. The team was under fire for rescinding its invitation to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. It had said the group might fracture the night's spirit of unity. On May 17th, after Senator Marco Rubio of Florida decried the group's inclusion, the Dodgers rescinded its invitation. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? We're gonna listen to some dumb fucking Florida? Who gives a shit? Suck my dick. Stay in fucking Florida, little Marco. Okay? Where you can have some level of control over whatever the fuck you want to see on your TV. Why do you give a shit about what's going on in Los Angeles? They mock Catholicism and encourage perversion of Jesus' tenets. The team didn't expressly agree, but it argued that the group's presence would be polarizing. The move came as aggressive right-wing demonstrators have targeted events known as Drag Queen Story Hour for threats and protests. The next day, LA Pride, which produces the city's eponymous annual parade and festivities celebrating LGBTQ nightlife and culture, dropped out of Pride Night. The Dodgers said that the episode provides an opportunity to better educate ourselves, find ways to strengthen the ties that bind, and use our platform to support all of our fans who make up the diversity of the Dodgers family. It is so ridiculous. Like, I don't even give a shit about... Look, I don't give a shit about baseball, okay? But I do know Los Angeles, and I know people in LA, okay? When they hear someone like fucking Marco Rubio talk shit, they're going to lose their minds. Look, there's one thing. California gets a lot of shit wrong. Los Angeles gets a lot of shit wrong. But if you're from here, if you live here for an extended period of time, there is a sense of like superiority that a lot of people in LA and in California in particular feel, especially when compared to other states. Okay? Because it also does have, it also does get a lot of things right. Like, our gun laws are pretty fucking good. That is the reason why we have significantly lower rates of gun violence in Los Angeles and in California in general than the national average. Okay? People say crime is out of control in California. That is not the case. Crime in general also is lower in California than other places. Okay? And that's the kind of, it's privilege is what we should feel, not superiority. I'm just talking about the average person. Like, when you have the average Joe thinking about like living in California and how they live in California, how they love California, how they love the Dodgers, how they love Los Angeles, and you got like a Floridian asshat, especially, fucking talking shit about what California can and can't do, they're not going to react positively to that. They're going to, even if they personally didn't care about the fucking nuns or didn't even like it, they're going to be like, oh, no, fuck you. Okay? 100%. Especially when compared to Florida. Because Florida, okay, Florida has a real bad rap out here. Like, 100%. For example, that dude that came from Miami-Dade County to lead the and basically manage the LAUSD was immediately criticized when the staffers in schools were actually protesting. He was immediately criticized because he was a fucking Florida guy. Like, they were like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Don't turn my California education system into Florida. Fuck you. And that was a very good way to argue against this kind of management. California has 9 gun deaths per 100K in 2023. That's 44 out of 50. Like what? The 44th lowest is what you're saying, right? Yeah. Also, California gun violence used to be fucking higher too. California gun violence used to be higher. And then they started implementing gun control safety measures. And it worked. It fucking worked. The crime rate in LA is shocking low for the huge population. LA never gets credit for that. Yeah, because the crime rate is silly in comparison to like seeing homeless people in the streets. When you see that, that's the real crime. That's the worst crime.
Or disrespect the religious beliefs of any fan or employee. I also encourage my fellow Catholics to reconsider their support of an organization that allows this type of mockery of its fans to occur. I know I'm not alone in my frustration, hurt, and disappointment about this situation. As Catholics, we look to Jesus Christ and the way he was treated, and we realize any suffering in this world unites us in him in the next. Okay, I mean, that is a courageous statement by Trevor Williams. He's not the only one. There's another MLB pitcher named Blake Trinan. Blake Trinan also put up a statement regarding all of this. Trinan, I believe, pitches for the Dodgers themselves. He put out a statement via one of his friends saying, quote, "I'm disappointed to see the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence being honored as heroes at Dodger Stadium. Many of their performances are blasphemous. Their work only displays hate and mockery of Catholics and the Christian faith. I understand that playing baseball is a privilege, not a right. My convictions in Jesus Christ will always come first. Since I have been with the Dodgers, they have been at the forefront of supporting a wide variety of groups. However, inviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to perform disenfranchises a large community and promotes hate of Christians and people of faith. This single event alienates the fans and supporters of the Dodgers, Major League Baseball, and professional sports. People like baseball for its entertainment value and competition. The fans do not want propaganda or politics forced."
By the way, Dodgers also has a Christian Faith and Family Day, which they also, I like that they're covering it like they fucking reignited this or restarted it, but like, no, they've hosted Christian Family and Prayer Day and shit like that too. You don't see the fucking left wing chirping about it. Don't they also do a prayer? Like, don't they also, I mean, I guess they sing the national anthem. They don't really like fucking sit. It used to just be called Faith and Family Day. Yeah. See, the return they announced of Christian Faith and Family Day. Because you gotta always fucking, you know, shut these chirping little babies the fuck up. You know what I mean? Why the fuck is the Jewish man tumbling about the sanctity of Christian values? Because he is a dog to the white supremacist Christians, okay? That's just the reality. That's the reality. He is. He's their fucking dog, and it yips. And he goes, yip, 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 yip. All day, every fucking day. That's the only reason. They pray before every NASCAR race. Still, lol, nobody cares. Yeah. It's just more beer drinking time.
Forced on them. The debacle with Bud Light and Target should be a warning to companies in professional sports to stay true to their brand and leave the propaganda and politics off the field. I believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins. This group openly mocks Jesus, the cornerstone of my faith. I want to make it clear I do not agree with nor support the decision of the Dodgers to honor these Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Okay, good for Blake Trinan. But then there's the story of Anthony Bass. So he's a pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. He shared a post on his social media in which he encouraged.
Bro, I don't. Like, who cares, man? Who cares? Nobody cares. This is another story that I was going to cover, though. It's pretty funny. This guy had to, like, do a press statement apologizing.
The boycott of Target and Bud Light.
Again, demonstrates the courage. Bro, he's so courageous. Because conservative movements largely revolve around... fucking vice signaling, as I've told you. It's like basically saying being an overall unpleasant and intolerant person and like openly stating that you are intolerant and unpleasant is actually bravery. You're exhibiting bravery when you do that. Okay? You're demonstrating bravery when you fucking tell people that you just refuse to shower. You're stinky, you know? Thank you. Thank God. Thank God for these people that are just like fucking crying about the existence of gay people, you know? Why the fuck do these Christian nationalist fucks have this utopic nostalgia for the days of better values? Their childhood they're remembering was them being abused either emotionally, physically, or both, or worse, in the name of Jesus and Christianity. And you know this is true because they're hateful shitheads as adults, and that's learned behavior. Yeah.
He shared a video calling on Christians to stop patronizing those companies. The original video said, quote, here's the reason biblically why I believe Christians have got to be boycotting Target, Bud Light, and any other corporation that's pushing the things they're pushing. This is evil. This is demonic. We won't stand for it. We're not going to go to the stores anymore. We're not going to give them any of our money. Bass was then forced, presumably by the Toronto Blue Jays organization, to apologize for his own religious convictions. Here we go.
I recognized yesterday.
No, man. It's not an apology for your religious convictions. It's an apology for using your religious convictions to be bigoted towards an entire group of people. That's it. Why can't you make this, like, how many other fucking Christians exist on the roster? I'm sure the majority of the Toronto Blue Jays are fucking Christian, okay? The difference is they're not trying to weaponize their Christianity to chirp about gay people. That's it, okay? And this would never work for any other reason. Like, ironically, when Muslims do this, Ben is the first to be like, look how barbaric these Muslims are. Okay? That's the most hilarious part about it, is that, like, if there is a Muslim group anywhere around the planet that is like, yeah, fuck gay people, we don't like that, we don't fuck with that, Ben's like, look how barbaric they are. Look how awful they are. These Muslims, they're terrible. They're doing Sharia law. You don't want that. And it's like, at a certain point, you have to recognize... Okay, at a certain point, you have to recognize that, like, it's just fundamentalist people that Ben likes versus fundamentalist people that Ben doesn't like. Okay, he has no fucking convictions.
I made a post that was hurtful to the Pride community, which includes friends of mine. And close.
Is it bigotry or for calling for a boycott of the current/potential advertiser? It's why they're calling for a boycott. Okay, make no mistake. They're not fucking calling for a boycott because Target is like, I don't know, Target was found to be destroying the natural wildlife or something, or dumping toxic chemicals in the fucking water supply in one of their factories. If he was calling for a boycott for that particular reason, or calling for a boycott for, I don't know, the lack of, like, environmental initiatives that Target has or whatever, no one would be freaking out about it, okay? He's calling for a boycott because Target put fucking a gay person, Bud Light worked with a trans person one fucking time and everybody got mad about it. And Target is selling rainbow merchandise. Okay? That's it. That's the reason why people are like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. Shut the fuck up. You're a bigoted piece of shit. That's it. Let's be real. It's both? What do you mean it's both? Yeah, conservatives got one canned.
Those family members of mine, and I am truly sorry for that.
I do love this, by the way. I do love this. See, this was the video he reposted if you want to watch it. So this is the video he reposted, and that's why he was under fire.
Biblically, why I believe Christians ought to be boycotting Target and Bud Light and any other corporation that's pushing the things they're pushing. I think a lot of people make this into a political issue, or they say, oh, what's the big deal? If, is it really going to make that big of a difference if I'm shopping there or not shopping there?
I'm here to tell you, biblically, you got to stop shopping at Target.
Here's what the Bible says. It tells us what to do as Christians in Ephesians chapter 5. It says this.
It says, do not shop at a place where they're selling a binky with the rainbow color, because that shit is gay. That's what the Bible says, I think, because I don't know how to read. If I knew how to read, I could tell you what it actually said, but I don't know, and neither do you, so you can't fact check me.
Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them, for it is shameful to even talk of the things that they do in secret. So what does that mean to take no part? Well, what's Target do? It's a business. They make money. They sell things. And to take part in that is to take part in that God of mammon that they're serving, and to take part in the darkness that they're purveying and getting out to the world and shoving into children's.
Bro, I'm sorry. I know this is controversial because there's still plenty of people who are mad at me over the Hogwarts Legacy shit, but, like, it hasn't even been like 2 months since the Hogwarts Legacy shit happened. And every single one of these conservatives, maybe not this guy, but Ben Shapiro and every single other conservative was, like, laughing about how silly this Hogwarts Legacy boycott was. And now they're doing the same thing. Like, it hasn't been that long. It wasn't that long ago when Ben Shapiro was fucking crying or making jokes about how people were crying about Hogwarts Legacy. And now he's doing the same shit. He's crying. And it's even worse because at least, like, Hogwarts Legacy as an IP was, like, directly created by some fucking psychotic transphobic person. Okay? And I had my criticisms of that decentralized boycott movement. But, like, At least it was like directly created by this person. What you guys are mad at is literally just a t-shirt, dog. It's a t-shirt that says like, it's a t-shirt that has rainbow colors on it. Like, that's what you're upset about. It's crazy. It's so stupid. It's so profoundly stupid.
Faces, and to take part in that is to give them your money. And I believe the Bible gives us radical precedent to say no. We are running from that, and to instead expose those things, to shout it to all the people that have ears to hear that this is evil, this is demonic. We won't.
They're doing it online. They don't actually give a shit if they live near a Target and they need to buy toilet paper. They're going to Target. Yeah, of course.
Stand for it. We're not going to go to the stores anymore, and we're not going to give them our money. We're going to let our voice be heard so that people can see the light and so that people can be pulled out of the darkness. Here's the reason biblically why I believe.
This is so funny. This guy, Scott says, classic example of pulling a verse right out of its context and using it to push your own agenda. Paul is speaking to the church about ridding itself of sexual impurity. I think we've seen plenty of sexual immorality within the church exposed in recent years. How about we work on that first? We won't. We won't, though, because that takes hard work. It's much easier to get up in arms about issues like this just so we can feel a little bit better about ourselves. God damn. This I suspect is like a Christian guy who is, who's like a Christian liberal. Love those guys. Okay? You know what also? You know what I also love, dude? I love the fucking, I want to sick the r/atheists on these fucking weirdos, okay? It's the one time where I think, who sits like this? What is she doing? I mean, what is that? What is that? What is happening here? Gay autistic daughter sitting? It's so strange. Good. Packed herself into a little corner. Kaya is cat-coded, sorry. No, I know. It's the fucking Chow Chow and the Tibetan Mastiff in her that, like, basically makes her a cat. Does she sit on her cold pad, or did you bin it after she pooped on it? Yeah, I threw it out. Unfortunately, she is not ready for the cold pad yet. Maybe in a little bit. Anyway, r/atheists, this is your moment. This is your opportunity. You are some of the most unhinged, annoying people online. Look, this is fresh meat for you. You will be seen as heroes. Debate these motherfuckers. You know every Christian verse. You know every Bible verse. Okay? This is your call to arms. r/atheist Andes. Okay? Do your fucking thing.
Spoke with my teammates and shared with them my actions yesterday.
Debate these motherfuckers.
And as of right now, I'm using the Blue Jays resources to better educate myself, to make better decisions moving forward. The ballpark is for everybody.
The Maoist struggle session.
Fire.
All fans at the ballpark, and we want to welcome everybody.
What, the Maoist struggle?
The Maoist struggle sessions. The Maoist struggle sessions. You definitely have to cater to a tiny percentage of the population that is deeply offended by people who don't want transing of the kids' material at Target. You have to cater to those people, not the other 98% of the American population.
Wait, what? 98% of the American population? Like, what do you mean? What is the argument? That 98% of the American population wants to fucking stop Target from doing, selling Pride merch, you fucking delusional baboon. What the fuck are you talking about? Brother, if anything, it's literally the 2% that is like screeching nonstop, making it seem like there's anything more than 2% of the population that feels some type of way about this. Most people don't give a fuck. Okay? 98% of the population does not care. You don't even fucking care that much. You just care because it makes you money. You care because it gets clicks for you. Okay? So stupid.
Okay, so if the solution isn't really individuals just standing up, and if the solution can't really be only sporadic attempts to boycott particular brands, what is it? We'll get to that momentarily. First, are you tired of breathing in?
Oh my God, dude. Holy fuck.
That they America. Left-wing America. Left-wing social engineering. So how
Larray just dropped a diss track with Valkyrie, Aiden plus Andrew Tate, and all the Minecrafters on YouTube. He said he was going to diss me in it too. I don't know if he actually ended up doing it. But
exactly do you fight that? It's easy to say, you, the individual, you should get up and you should protest your corporation. Okay. I mean, that sounds great, except that then you lose your job and then you can't feed your family. Not everybody can work for the Daily Wire. So what exactly? Well, as a consumer, obviously, you can exercise choice, and it does work.
But it's not enough. Choice alone is not enough, especially because we know you can't stop shopping at Target because it's the closest one in your neighborhood. So what do? We fucking cry about it online because then we can make it seem like we have a broader population of support than we actually do. So let's keep doing that, especially on TikTok. And if you get rewarded for chirping on TikTok, more people will keep doing it, even if they don't normally care about it. And that way, we can make it seem like we have an actual outsized population of people who care about it.
From time to time when you do. And you can show corporations that they ought to be scared of the consumer. Bud Light, for example, is getting absolutely clobbered. Apparently, sales are worsening. They had a staggering drop of 29.5% for the week ending May 20th. Data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ.
The funniest part about this Bud Light shit is that, like, every other beer brand has also done, again, gay pride parades and, like, literally every single other beer brand, every single other major beer brand that is a direct competitor to Bud Light, including Yuengling, has, of course, sponsored gay pride. Yuengling is literally owned by a Republican Trump supporter, and they have sponsored the Philadelphia Pride Parade. Okay? Because of course they do. Because that's a market. That's literally gay people drink beer. Okay? The idea that, like, you can find a brand that hasn't sponsored a gay pride parade or some shit like that is so fucking stupid. Okay? The only difference is that people don't know that Yuengling has done that because conservatives have not actually, paid attention to it close enough, I guess, or they don't give a fuck. That's it. Every single corporation has done like a pride parade, okay? Yuengling included. It's so fucking stupid. What is this? Is it TikTok?
Look at you sticking it to Budweiser. Oh, it's the Philly Gay Pride Festival page. Let's see who their sponsors are. Corona, Coors Light, and Yuengling. Nice.
There you go. There you go. Yuengling sponsoring the Philadelphia Gay Pride Parade is also a one-off campaign in the same way that Bud Light gave Dylan Mulvaney a singular fucking can with her face on it. The only difference is conservatives are fucking dumb animals, okay? They're apes. They literally can only react. They see the thing in front of their eyes and they lose their fucking minds at that thing. Okay? That's it. That's the problem. That's the hilarious situation here. If only they fucking knew. Okay? This is not a principled stance. And what would be the principle anyway? It's just like fucking hilarious. Like, what kind of principles are there? Just, oh, I can't drink this beer because they sell to gay people? Okay. Great. Good luck. Good luck with that. What an initiative that is. Bro, you keep moving around and you freak me the fuck out. I just got you. I just let you out to piss. I'm actually worried that she's going to fucking pee again. Or maybe she's going to poop, which is even scarier in my opinion. Conservatives might have to stop drinking dog piss beer. Full stop tragedy. Yeah, I know. They would literally have to go into the woods and die to not consume any brands that have supported gay people in June. Yeah, every corporation has done it. And they're doing this because they kind of recognize that too, which is why Matt Walsh always says like, oh, it's not about all corporations. It's about like a singular one that we can target and hurt. So they want to basically like scare every corporation. They want to scare basically every corporation so that like, because they don't want to be the one. They don't want to be the one that like actually gets dinged by these fucking losers. And the dinging is not even serious. Like, it's not even a real fucking problem to begin with, but they make it seem like it's a big problem. There are market forces outside of conservatives choosing not to fucking drink this shit. Okay? Hold on. This is, I want to watch this real quick. Conservatives, when they deem every brand as woke, now that they don't have anything left. I haven't heard this song in so long. I haven't seen this meme in a minute. Dolce and banana. Oh, it's fire. The worst part is, regardless of how ineffective they are, these right-wing psychos are more organized in their attacks than leftists. There is truth to that. But also, it's... I mean, yeah, hatred... their hatred revolves around pre-existing hierarchical standards. So it's basically a justification or a reinforcement of what is already normal. You know what I mean? So poor I have to watch HasanAbi and not HasanAbi. Yeah, I hate when that happens. I'm sorry, chatter.
Provided to Newsweek shows that sales by volume are down almost 30% for the week ending May 20th compared to last year. Sales are down 25.7% for revenue compared to the same time window. This is a bloodbath. Anheuser-Busch InBev stock is getting crushed since the start of April. Beers are selling for pennies, and there is no end in sight. Now, it is worthwhile noticing here that one of the reasons why this has been a successful boycott and will continue to be a successful boycott is because the alternatives are readily available, meaning all you have to do, you're at the grocery store. You don't like Bud Light because Bud Light decided they were going to push Dylan Mulvaney, a man masquerading as a woman, as a spokesperson. So instead, you turn 6 inches to your right and you pick up some Coors. And actually what you can see is that Bud Light sales are down 25% and Coors Light sales are up 25%. Everybody moved from one brand to another. What happens when you're talking about a universal wave of companies all mirroring the Pride Month celebratory morality? What happens when that happens? How do you fight that? The answer here is going to be a bevy of lawsuits. Okay, this is going to be legislation and lawsuits. Because what we are watching right now is illegal collusion between these companies. I've used the word collusion, but it actually is legal collusion. So there are two separate lines of attack that are going to have to be used legally in order to break up this corporate oligopoly. Okay, line number one is going to be, this is anti-competitive. This is a violation of basic antitrust law. That's the case made by the Texas Policy Center. They say the seminal antitrust law in the United States, the Sherman Act of 1890, prohibits every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce. To protect consumers across the economy, courts have interpreted this law to prohibit unreasonable agreements and restraints of trade. Anti-competitive conduct enriches the few, members of a cartel, at the expense of everybody else, harming free markets, ultimately consumers, through higher prices and reduced output. Agreements between competitors to fix prices, divide markets, or engage in certain forms of group boycott agreements prevent competition on the merits and are therefore illegal. As former DOJ Antitrust Division head Megan Delrahim has written, anti-competitive agreements among competitors, regardless of the purported beneficial goal, are outlawed because they reduce the incentives for companies to compete vigorously, which in turn can raise prices, reduce innovation, and ultimately harm consumers. For example, there was a case called FTC versus Superior Court Trial Lawyers Association. A group of lawyers agreed to stop representing indigent criminal defendants in Washington, D.C. until the city government agreed to increase their compensation. The FTC took them to court. They argued that this was a per se illegal conspiracy to fix prices and conduct a boycott. The lawyers defended their agreement as a justified strike in the public interest to increase the number of lawyers who could represent those particular defendants. The Supreme Court rejected the defense. So, you could easily see a situation in which there is a lawsuit against all of these companies, all of these organizations for their ESG nonsense, their collusive ESG nonsense. In fact, Bloomberg Law reported just a little bit earlier this month.
You missed it. Ben wants to invoke the Sherman antitrust on Bud Light because they support gay people. Fuck yes, dude. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Fucking rugged anti-corporatist Ben Shabibo. Let's fucking go, dude. Finally. Fucking finally. That's what I'm talking about. Brother, this is the dream, baby.
Basic antitrust law. That's the case made by the Texas Policy Center. They say the seminal antitrust law in the United States, the Sherman Act of 1890, prohibits every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce. To protect consumers across the economy, courts have interpreted this law to prohibit unreasonable agreements in restraints of trade. Anti-competitive conduct enriches the few, members of a cartel, at the expense of everybody else, harming free markets, ultimately consumers, through higher prices and reduced output. Agreements between competitors to fix prices, divide markets, or engage in certain forms of group boycott agreements prevent.
Ben doesn't give a fuck when antitrust laws are not utilized in any other facet of agricultural production that ends up inevitably creating an environment that makes it so easy to raise egg prices, for example, or fucking the price of dairy or the price of meat, okay? But like the only time this fucking dipshit cares about antitrust is not on ISPs, which he has defended in the past as well. He only cares about it if it's like, you know, gay people existing. Corporations are pro gay people. That's awesome. And not even like pro gay people in general, just like pandering to gay people for approximately 1 month.
Prevent competition on the merits and are therefore illegal. As former DOJ Antitrust Division head Megan Delrahim has written, anti-competitive agreements among competitors, regardless of the purported beneficial goal, are outlawed because they reduce the incentives for companies to compete vigorously, which in turn can raise prices, reduce innovation, and ultimately harm consumers. For example, there was a case called FTC versus Superior Court Trial Lawyers Association. A group of lawyers agreed to stop representing indigent criminal defendants in Washington, D.C. until the city government agreed to increase their compensation. The FTC took them to court.
I love this.
They argued that this was a per se illegal conspiracy to fix prices and conduct a boycott. The lawyers defended their agreement as a justified strike in the public interest to increase the number of lawyers who could represent those particular defendants. The Supreme Court rejected the defense. So, you could easily see a situation in which there is a lawsuit against all of these companies, all of these organizations for their ESG nonsense, their collusive ESG nonsense. In fact, Bloomberg Law reported just a little bit earlier this month that insurers are now being forced to rethink their approach to climate change as they assess the risk of being sued for antitrust violations. Munich Re, the world's biggest reinsurer, recently backed out of the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, citing what it called the material legal risks it would face if it remained. The defection was then followed by 2 more high-profile departures, with Zurich Insurance Group AG and Hanover Re also leaving. All 3 said they will still pursue net zero goals, but not in coordination with the alliance. Because, again, they are afraid that they're going to be sued for collusion. So that would be solution number 1. Solution number 2 is somewhat similar. That would be a share.
This view of antitrust went out when Reagan got into office. The court now looks at consumer price benefit for the most part. I love how homophobia is going to roll back 40 years of conservative antitrust thought. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen anyway. It is pretty funny, though, that like he is demanding, again, antitrust law is perfectly applicable in AB InBev's case, okay? they have vertically and horizontally expanded and integrated to a degree where they maintain like almost every facet of like beer delivery and beer sales. Like they control all of it, okay? And this reality exists in pretty much every part of your lives, okay? You could absolutely utilize antitrust laws on like the overwhelming majority of mega corporations that control most of the market, whichever industry they're in, whichever sector they're in, okay? And that is also, but of course that never happens. There's no regulation. There's rarely ever any antitrust regulation because our current understanding of antitrust regulation is that as long as the prices are the prices of goods and commodities remain low, it doesn't harm consumers, so they don't give a fuck, right? Ben wants to make an argument that like I guess people are harmed by AB InBev because they did a one-time Dylan Mulvaney ad on Dylan Mulvaney's Instagram, which is awesome. If this little of a thing is like getting Ben to just go back on all of his fucking free market values, I mean, great. I'm down. Fuck it. Let's attack these big corporations. I'm on board.
Shareholder derivative claim. A shareholder derivative action is when shareholders basically say that corporate officers are breaching their fiduciary duties.
All right, I'm going to bring Kai back
Your fiduciary duty is to maximize the profitability and the viability of the corporation in which I am a shareholder. Your fiduciary duty does not involve doing the work of the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation or the PGLE or whatever ridiculous ESG organization you have decided to join. Their shareholder actions can include anything up to and including conflicts of interest between the corporation and insiders, wasting of corporate assets, executive manager or board member breach of fiduciary duty. The law is going to be a solution to this. And the law will also be a solution in terms of legislation. It's one reason why Republicans are going to actually have to win. You know, there's no substitute for victory because Joe Biden sits in the presidency right now, and President Biden has basically vowed that he was going to veto any ESG rule. You'll recall it was not all that long, it was March, when he rejected a Republican proposal to prevent pension fund managers from basing investment decisions on factors like climate change. Of course, because he's literally encouraging all of this. The House GOP tried to override that Biden veto. They just didn't have the votes to do it. The override failed on a 219-200 vote along party lines. But if Republicans were to win the House and win the Senate and win the presidency, they could actually pass a law to ban ESG investing, which would be necessary in order to restore competition in the marketplace. Also, presumably, the FTC could look at things like collusion if it were not ruled by members of the left wing. But this is going to have to stop. Because what we're watching here is not merely, the press wants to portray this as just a shift in generalized American public opinion. That's not what's happening here. What's happening here is a cram down, again, from the highest levels of our culture. Okay, in just 1 second, we're going to take a look at the weird alliance that is now forming between Andrew Cuomo and Donald Trump. It's very, very strange. First, abortion is the leading cause of death among infants in the United States and on planet Earth. Sadly, with the abortion pill accounting for over 50% of all abortions, babies' lives are even at great.
All right, that's it. Finally. I found them? Yeah. Yes, please. In Ben's capitalistic world, shouldn't he be rallying against ISPs as more competition would give him more viewers and customers for Daily Wire? No, because Ben has to hand it to the fucking corporations no matter what.